90-Day Fiancé. What happened between Sophie Sierra and her mom? Claire was arrested, and they have ongoing drama. 2024. Sophie's relationship with her mom, Claire, is rocky after Claire's arrest and interference in her marriage with Rob. Sophie's upbringing with Claire reveals struggles with race, wealth, and past drug addiction. Claire's arrest for threatening Sophie highlights ongoing tensions and financial issues between them. 90-Day Fiancé. Happily Ever After. Star Sophie Sierra's mom, Claire Cheshire, was arrested. And here's where their relationship stands after what happened. Sophie is a 25-year-old social media influencer from London. Sophie met the 33-year-old aspiring actor and model Rob Warren on Instagram when she came across his profile on a page about mixed-race men. Sophie approached Rob by following him. The rest, as they say, is 90-Day Fiancé history. However, Sophie and Rob's romance did not last. Sophie and Rob got married in 2022. Sadly, they separated by May 2023 when she left his new house in Austin. Rob had cheated on Sophie online before she moved to the US, and Sophie could never get over the betrayal. Rob and Sophie tried to make things work and even attended couples therapy on 90-Day, the last resort season 2. However, it appears they decided to stay friends. While Sophie dealt with Rob's infidelity, her mom was always in her ear, asking her to leave him. Claire planted the seed of doubt in Sophie's mind and wanted them to break up. Claire raised Sophie as a single mom. Sophie was born to a biracial couple. Sophie has an interesting backstory that she revealed in her debut 90-Day Fiancé episode. Sophie is of mixed race. Her mom is British and her father is Jamaican. Sophie grew up in Spain, where she struggled to fit in. Sophie said that she had a very wealthy grandfather, but she could never tell where his money came from. However, Sophie got to go to a private school and go on vacations to the fanciest of places. Sophie had no siblings, so she had been close to her mom since she was little. It's not really like a mother-daughter relationship. It's more like sisters, I'd say. Sophie and Mom Claire were close on season 10. Sophie's mom followed her to the US from Mexico. Sophie moved to England by herself when she was around 16 years old. Sophie's mom ended up moving there too, even though she hated England. When Sophie moved to Mexico next, Claire stayed with her the whole time she was in Mexico. Sophie wondered if her mom would move to America as well, since she was going there on a K-1 visa to marry Rob. Probably move down the road, Sophie joked. However, Sophie knew that Rob didn't like that. They weren't the biggest fans of each other, but Sophie wished for them to get along, since they were going to be family at the end of the day. Claire didn't approve of Rob. Claire told Sophie she wasn't making the right decision. Claire is the one who coined the name Rob the Knob for Rob on 90-Day Fiancé season 10. Claire thought Rob was stupid, grumpy, and the epitome of a knob. Claire knew Sophie was moving into a situation that wasn't ideal, but the latter was just excited to see Rob. She was going to think of the bad stuff when she got to the US. Sophie used the saying, "Talk is cheap, money buys houses," for Rob. Sophie asked Claire to wait until they were married to scare Rob off. She didn't want anything to mess up her relationship with Rob. Sophie was in for a surprise when Claire moved to the US. Rob and Claire got into an argument the first time they met. Claire had joked about knocking Rob's mom to the ground, which Rob thought was aggressive. Claire was not impressed by Rob's man cave. Rob started an argument with Sophie and Claire after her reaction and accused them of not understanding where he came from, since they'd never been at the bottom like him. When Sophie and Rob separated after moving to Austin, Claire was in the States as she'd found a boyfriend in Texas. In 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Season 8, Claire's disdain for Rob was ever apparent as the mom and daughter duo sat down with Rob and Claire couldn't have a civil conversation with Rob. Claire chastised Rob and wouldn't let him talk. When he was finally able to say something, Claire didn't give Rob's responses the time of day. Claire has her mind made up about Rob, and at this point, there is no changing her mind about it. Claire did try to be fake nice when she and Sophie went to Rob and Sophie's apartment to tell him Sophie was moving out again. They had an awkward living room sit down after Sophie started collecting her things. Rob looked extremely depressed about the situation, and Claire didn't dig into him, but it was clear she was happy Sophie was leaving the house. Sophie came clean about Claire's drug past. Claire had overdosed when Sophie was little. Claire was still living in Mexico, but she came to Texas often to see her boyfriend John. And of course, Sophie